Welcome back to our coverage of the first stage of the Tour DuPont down in Dover, Delaware, 57.5 miles, and we're in beautiful sunny conditions with an expected high up in the 80s today. The 1993 Tour DuPont is being brought to you by WordPerfect. This program is brought to you by WordPerfect. DuPont, sponsor of the Tour DuPont, America's premier cycling event. By Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it Bud Light. The route today for 56 miles, the riders coming right down along Delaware Bay, heading into downtown from Dover, the capital of the state of Delaware. It's a very flat route indeed. It's a day the sprinters should enjoy themselves in Wilmington. And the start down in Dover this morning. Beautiful weather indeed. The riders in relaxed mood, all 118 of them. Let's join Paul Sherwin on the start.
Well, no major surprises so far in the Tour DuPont. In fact, it's WordPerfect on top as we expected. But it's not Raul Alcala, the man from Mexico, as we thought. It's his teammate Jelle Neidem from Holland, who's got the yellow jersey. That's going to cause a few strange tactics over the first stage because we've got a team time trial coming up, and WordPerfect really need to win that stage if they want to go on to win the overall Tour. So what I think is going to happen is we'll see one or two of the smaller teams launching attacks to try and take the glory. That'll put the WordPerfect team under pressure because they don't want to lose the jersey too soon. But on the other hand, it puts Alcala in a nice position because he doesn't have the pressure of wearing the jersey for the first 2 or 3 days. And he can sit in the wheels, not have too much pressure on him, and wait until we get to the mountains, because you can be sure when we go to those mountains, riders like Atle Kvalsvold and Lance Armstrong, they're going to attack him all the way.
The leader of the Subaru Montgomery team, Atle Kvalsvold, knows that after being second 3 times in this race, time trialing is his weakness.
No, because that's a whole another race. It's not comparative with a prologue. So, but we have to think about to do a very good team time trial today, and then we see, because the WordPerfect team is very strong, so we have to try to not to lose so much time.
This race ends with a long time trial, and Lance Armstrong's #1 fan is back, looking up to his hero. And what are the strengths of this young man from Texas? Let him tell you.
I think everyone expected Jelle Neidem to do what he did, and Raul was exceptional as well. But it's a tough team. Everybody knew it. It's no surprise.
And a name here that everybody doesn't know a lot about, but a man that could really be in the reckoning in the mountains, is Steven Rux, the Dutchman, one of the few Dutchmen who can really climb. Steven Rux is a star, and this year he has a new team, the Spanish Festina team. Festina's Steven Rux makes his first appearance on American soil since 1989. The Dutchman really has all the all-round talents required to be at the top by the end of this race in the mountains and time trials.
If we ride a good team time trial and I have a good position, then I can win this race. But if you lose a minute, 2 minutes, I don't know, then it's difficult. But you shall see. The condition is very good, and yeah, after this I must do the Giro Italia, and after that the Tour de France. It's a lot. Because you must think about yourself.
The man in the yellow jersey, Jelle Neidem, a time trial specialist, has won yet another prologue. And for him, this is the catbird seat.
Defend my jersey in the first days, and then when the mountains come, Alcala is winning. I hope that he's good in the mountains.
Well, it's been a great start for WordPerfect, and a great start too for Raul Alcala, the hot favourite. He lies now in 2nd place overall.
Team WordPerfect really in the perfect position with 2 riders in the lead and their favorite man, not the one in the yellow jersey. They can almost use Jelle Neidem as a decoy for the real race that I feel is between Raul Alcala and Lance Armstrong, and of course the rest of the field. Atle Kvalsvold finds himself, though, fighting out of a hole early in this race, so far down in the prologue time trial.
And by way of a little warm-up today, it's 3 laps around the streets of Dover before the riders start to unwind as they go up and back home to Wilmington.
The capital city of Delaware greeting the field of 118 riders and enjoying a beautiful, warm, sunny morning. Quite contrast to last year when it was a downpour and a deluge, and you would have to look hard to find anyone brave enough to come out on the streets.
Tense moments for race leader Jelle Nijdam. His biggest fear at the moment will be a fall in this big field, and that could rob him of the race lead. So he will watch everybody and everything as he starts now to head out back to Wilmington. 2 laps to go, and the race being watched by the Governor of Delaware, Tom Carper. He'll enjoy the day, and so will we. Don't go far away. We'll take a short break.
Sponsored by Continental Tire. Sports Center. The Padres try to fight their way out of a slump. Dion may be doing this full-time soon, and Ryan's Express set to roll again tonight. Bob Lee, Jack Edwards at 7 Eastern.
So welcome back to the Tour DuPont. The rides are now on stage 1, and they're heading out of Dover and up towards Wilmington in Delaware. All in Delaware State today on this tour, which will eventually go across 5 states. And the race leader, let me remind you, the winner of the prologue in Jelle Nijdam.
The field very happy indeed that the first real stage of this race is a nice flat run-in. Gives them a chance to get used to each other riding in the bunch. Raul Alcala having a chat with one of his old friends from the European peloton. These two, no doubt, enjoying the talk about the weather. Juan Martinez Oliver of the Kelme team and the yellow jersey, Jelle Nijdam, looking very cool, calm, and collected.
The hawk eyes of Nijdam watches every rider who passes his shoulder. He makes a special note of their number, because he wants to make sure that rider will not affect his overall position in this race. Davis Finney drops back for a tactical talk with his team manager.
Len Pettyjohn at the wheel of the team car is the rolling dugout for the Coors Light team. He's the one that directs their efforts out on the road, although all of these experienced men know more than well what to do with themselves in a race of this nature. It's just that the team cars are privy to a lot more information. They're hearing all the splits of times, they're hearing the distances that have passed, and they're hearing any motion in the front or back of the field that perhaps the riders can't see or hear. Here's Davis Finney now going to the back of the bunch, but this appears to be for an entirely different reason. He's looking down at his bike, and things don't look well at all. It appears as though he's damaged a wheel crossing a railroad track or having hit a pothole, and here's an opportunity for the mechanics to do their job. A wheel change, and Davis Finney will be back en route, but without the benefit of one of those aerodynamic carbon fiber specialized wheels.
So Len Pettyjohn, the manager of the Coors Light team, quickly gets Finney back in the action without the convoy all having passed by. That's a good sign, because Finney will be able to zigzag his way through the cars and back into the safety of the big field.
Malcolm Elliott has become the new leader of the Chevrolet LA Sheriff's team. These guys lacked a real strong man to lead the squad until this year, and what a difference it has made. The Chevrolet LA Sheriff's team is a strong all-around squad, and they can be counted on to contest for stage wins in this event, even if they may lack a real strong man in the mountains. Last year's team leader, Olympian Steve Hegg, won the final time trial on the streets of Washington, D.C. But a new addition is star sprinter Malcolm Elliott. The Englishman has been the hottest man on the U.S. Pro Circuit, 9 victories this year.
I think it's always a big help having good morale coming into a race like this, which is the biggest race of our calendar, on the crest of a wave. That's how I feel we are. The whole team is riding at the moment extremely well, and we've got high hopes here.
Steve Hegg and Jeff Pierce at the front of the bunch now, marshaling the troops, having a chat for themselves while they know they have control for the moment.
But along the route, Brian, there is this one position on the course today at Delaware City where riders can win small seconds in time bonus. And of course, Malcolm Elliott is a candidate for such a sprint win. And these small seconds can add up to the yellow jersey over these early stages.
The German national team sends Sven Teutenberg up the road, and responding with him is going to be number 167 of Word Perfect, I believe, is Vilko Zidovic.
So the Word Perfect men are making sure they have somebody in every move. They are marshalling the attacks. The young German amateur rider. Remember the Germans from last year when they created such a good impression? Well, this team, the Olympia Club from Dortmund, are out to create a big impression once again on American soil.
As are the Australians. They have launched a man up the road, too, in the person of Damien McDonald. And a 4-man breakaway starts to look a little dangerous in this race.
The first real breakaway of this year's Tour DuPont is dangling in front of the whole field. The Word Perfect have sent the policeman up here at the back of the group in the blue, and that is Vilko Zajdovik.
Well, and the Chevrolet LA Sheriffs has sent Jamie Polinetti. He's the only one on the squad that actually was a deputy sheriff in Los Angeles. He's in the move as well.
Just a shade under 25 miles an hour. As the field begins to slow down and the riders are being reeled in. The peloton, the French word for the big bunch. And it looks as though the big bunch, this time at least, has triumphed on the roads towards the finish. The field is regrouping.
For now, the opportunity of getting away on this course is lost. Again, the only real opportunity along the race course is a sprint at Delaware City for time bonuses and for points. Ron Kiefel of Coors Light is the next man to throw down the gauntlet, looking back at the rest of the field.
Ron Kiefel goes clear, but again the attention comes from the rest of the riders in this race, and this time it is Louis de Koning of the Word Perfect team who acts as the policeman for the leader of this race.
Things have quieted down once again at this point, and Raul Alcalá, the winner of the 1990 version of this race when it was known as the Tour de Trump, again starts to chat up some of his friends at the front of the field, knowing that his strong team is holding on to things quite well.
And so as the race comes together, Jelle Nijdam in the yellow jersey decides it's time to stop and take a break. And that's what we'll do. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. This morning's opening stage of the Tour DuPont, which will go on now until May the 16th. The riders crossing the Delaware Canal, and they're still in one big bunch.
Knowing that the sprint in Delaware City is coming up, the pace has started to pick up, and no surprise that Team Word Perfect are motoring along near the front of the field, trying to keep the pace hot so no one can get away. Lance Armstrong and his former USA National Amateur teammate George Hincapie having a chat. Armstrong, of course, moving on to the pro ranks. Hincapie, the new star of the amateur team.
This is the rundown to Delaware City now. The riders taking it very cautiously over those highly dangerous traps for cyclists, the all-metal bridges. And here's the big sprint in Delaware City with small time bonuses for the first three riders on the line. It's a close one, but look at that, Brian, right on the line. It's a German amateur who takes the sprint. So the first few seconds of this race has gone to an amateur rider from Germany. But the race goes on now as they search for the big victory in King Street. Jelle Nijdam, the leader of this race too, is now going to have to control all of the sprinters who want to win the day.
And there's a shot at Nijdam, counting on his teammates for the most part, but every now and then even the yellow jersey has to punch in and go to work.
Raul Alcalá, the real favourite for this race, who lies in second place overall, stalks the field, happy to make sure that he doesn't use too much energy on this flat stage today and bide his time till the mountains come shortly. Nijdam is a much better candidate for a good ride on these sort of roads.
It's interesting that all of the teams seem content to let the field stay together and give their sprinters a moment in the sun. It's probably going to be that way for the next several stages. Nijdam, on duty up front, though, decides he's had enough of the work for himself and calls up the troops.
More members of the Word Perfect team to come to the front to control these young flyers now as they're trying to sprint away from the pack and steal a march before we get to the finish.
Well, it's the amateurs that are causing a lot of the trouble up front. We see the German national team, the Australians up there, even the U.S. team. And amateur racing tends to be more animated from start to finish. The pros tend to settle in early and then race towards the end at a very high rate of speed. And now the pros are beginning to take over in their type of racing. 4 Word Perfect riders followed by the yellow jersey on the front, probably going better than 30 miles an hour.
And just look at that, Brian. All of the Word Perfect team are at the front now. The only name I can see missing is Eric van der Arden, and they might be keeping him fresh in the pack for the big sprint finish. He's their sprinter. Nijdam has rallied the troops as we head downtown now towards the finish in Wilmington, and it looks like we might well get a big bunch sprint in town. Find out when we come back. And welcome back. We are now in the closing meters of this morning's stage, which came down from Dover into the finish in Wilmington, and all of the sprinters now trying to get to the front. And it's the Subaru Montgomery team who are coming up towards the lead now to get the lead down that dangerous left turn, Brian, into King Street.
Coors Light up front with Dave Mann, Ron Kiefel trying to set up Davis Finney. Then, of course, the Subaru guys right there look like Nate Reese, but the man they're going to try to set up is Wieben Venstra. and he is a fast one indeed. The Dutch rider has added a lot of horsepower to that team, although Nate Rees, no slouch himself.
And the long, thin line of the riders now. Those at the back happy just to finish in the pack today, but those at the front want the big prize money now. Davis Finney is trying to take it out, but Finney is being challenged on his right there by Veenstra. Veenstra is going clear. This is a very difficult finish here. It's uphill, and Veenstra has made a good finish here. It's proved too long for Davis Finney, and Nate Rees is in third place. Let's join Brian Drebber with Nate on the line.
Give me a blow-by-blow last couple hundred meters.
Oh, well, we just came through that last turn so fast I thought we were all going to crash. We kept it up and got some nice momentum coming into the base of the hill. And Finney tried to go a little bit too early and just hesitated just a tiny bit because he saw it was too far to make it. I accelerated at the bottom a little bit early to try and get my guy a little bit of a slingshot past, and it worked. And then I just tried to keep my legs spinning to the finish for third.
And there's Davis Finney, just beaten on the line and robbed of victory in confirmation of that. Veenstra was the winner, Finney second, and Nate Rees was third. But what a start for the American teams taking the top 3 places. Now let's have a talk with the man who won the stage.
It. We had some stage wins in Mexico and Redlands, but we missed the big victories in Europe. And well, finally we have some stage race here in America, which is, I think, the most important.
So the overall situation after one stage and one prologue. Yellow Nidam keeps his yellow jersey. 10 seconds advantage over Raul Alcala of Mexico and Word Perfect, and 12 seconds over Armstrong. Happy times this for Word Perfect, their first appearance here in America, and they've got the lead for the second stage of the Tour DuPont. Tomorrow we will show you the team time trial. That's when all the teams come out in formation, and then on to stage 3 as we go to Hagerstown. And our coverage will continue as we head towards May the 16th, when this Grand Marathon will finish in Greensboro. Follow it all the way here on ESPN.